Here's the 3M pads I use in between coats. I usually just use these ones. There's a white one too. Any one of them will work. I think this is as fine as you need to go. This is for in between your finish coats. And you just like buff it out. It's gonna look awful when you do it until you finish buffing it out. The downside is you're gonna expose a lot of the imperfections in the low spots that will be shiny. So you have to keep building up the coats. But that's just for like a top finish, like the Tru Oil, Minwax, tongue oil finish, not like tongue oil and linseed oil, where you're not trying to build up a finish on the surface, so to speak. But this is what it looks like. Kind of lousy light. Bring it out in the daylight. This is what the stock looks like after I buffed it out. But I filled the grain pretty well on this, so there's no real little holes. Like walnut has these tiny holes. You can still kind of see the buff marks a little bit. And that's another downside to this. You see those streaks? Well, I didn't do such a good job sanding a couple previous coats. So you're always going to see that now. I'll buff it out again, and I'll put a few more coats, and when I buff it with the rotten stone, it'll look a little better. But I like the color. It came out pretty good. I don't know if it would have looked any better just putting plain old oil on it and rubbing it in. The grain isn't all that impressive. I actually hit it with black dye to bring out some of the grain, and I think that's the only reason why it looks good. Is it pop the grain? Try to give you an idea of what I mean by the pores filling in. Let's see. It's not really showing up. Anyhow, not too bad. I mean, the stock was cracked, beat up, had a big crack up the nose here, which I filled with epoxy, or epoxy, what do you want to call it. Fixed that crack. It had a big crack along the side here, running from the selector switch all the way down through here. Actually ended about an inch forward of the receiver area. And there's my little brass pins that I screwed in there and brought it all together. Worked good. Did this more for just experimentation and a little practice on refinishing. Dye's a little funky to work with. I don't recommend it unless you have a good place to spray it on. Don't spray it in your house. If you have any kind of filters, like on your air purifier or anything, your wife's gonna ask you, why is everything pink? Why are all the filters on the air purifiers pink? Why is my vacuum filter pink? And I thought I did a pretty good job at sealing off the room. Stuff got everywhere. Anyway, I like how it came out. I'm gonna do a couple more coats. I think the oil I have, the Tru Oil I have, somehow got contaminated because it's just giving me fits. But I'm gonna put on maybe another coat or two, and then I'm gonna shoot it, see how it shoots, and if it shoots well, in about a month or so, I'll give it a nice buff with the rotten stone and pumice, and it will just have a nice sheen to it. And that's it. Back to it.